Here's my 1983 Ford Crownvictoria Ltd. I just bought it about 5-10 miles down the road, and I'm going to attempt to drive it home 300 miles. We're just going to ignore that. We're going to ignore the cracked up old belts, extremely cracked, and I also see a little bit of an antifreeze leak on the radiator. You can tell that that's wet, and we're just going to ignore that. So, without further ado, let's hit the road. Alright, we're in the car. We just left Discount Tires. $600 later, we have an all-new set of wheels and tires on this car. They are 215, 65 R14s, I believe. So here we are, getting up to speed. This car has sat since the year 2000. It only has almost 57,000 miles on it. We are in Farmington, Missouri, and there is not a speck of rust anywhere on this car. It's literally been in a garage its entire life, and we have a person walking out in front of us. Isn't that smart? But yeah, this car has been parked inside a garage since the year 2000. It only has 57,000 miles on it. It was owned by an older gentleman from when it was new, and in 2000 he passed away at the age of 89. He only used it for going to town and going to church. I don't believe it's ever seen snow or anything like that, and it's truly just been taken care of. This blanket has been on the seat pretty much the entire time. Yeah, we have wood grain, we have a nice beautiful clock. It has air conditioning, but yet it has manual crank windows. I actually like that option. Less electronics to go bad. Now the only thing I do not like is there's no like lights for temperature, like it's not an actual gauge. Like it says engine, that could be oil pressure, that could be overheating, so that's not good. Now we have that slight coolant leak. I just put in about half a container of stop leak, and one container will treat up to 6 gallons of coolant, so I just kind of went for it. So hopefully that'll get us home 300 miles. We're running on a battery that is literally 10 years old. It cranks the car kind of slow. That could be because it's a cheap battery and the connections look kind of dirty. All I've done to the car today is I changed the oil, and I just put a new set of tires on it, and I did change the ignition control module. That stuff that we saw earlier, that was from the old one. It hadn't failed, but it was getting ready to. So yeah, what I wanted to do before driving this car, I wanted to drop the transmission pan, change the filter, add in however many new quarts of fluid it would take. I wanted to bleed the brakes all the way around since they're kind of touchy. And I did want to check the rear differential and front wheel bearings before driving it today. But my appointment for Discount Tire was a little bit sooner than expected, so I did not have time to get to that. I did put on that hood emblem because the other one had broken, or had been broken. Now the gentleman I bought it from is 72 years old. His father bought it brand new from the factory back in 1983, and so it's literally a one-owner car. I am the only other owner of this car. I wanted something different. I didn't want just a plain old new 2000s Crownvictoria. I wanted something with some style, and what says style besides a hood emblem, wood grain, and window cranks. Now this car only has one window. That one was an option, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, as I've said, we have about 300 miles left to go today. Alright, now I'm probably just going to go ahead and do a time lapse here and catch up with you guys later. So this is southern Missouri, about an hour south of St. Louis. I left this morning at about 2 in the morning, and we drove 300 miles down here with my mom's car, and now we're gonna drive this 300 miles home. But yeah, all I did is just new tires, oil, ignition control module, and that's it. I did not even clean the windows. You know, I just did what had to get done, and now we're gonna drive it 300 miles. Then in a couple weeks, I'll be driving it another 400 miles, towing a 1988 Ford Festiva back. So stay tuned. One more thing that I wanted to point out. At first, I didn't think this car had a horn, because you press it, this does nothing. It's actually way up over here. One of these ones. See? You press that, and that does that. So I found that really interesting. Another odd thing that I found today is that this motor has 2 drain plugs. One on the front of the oil pan and one on the back of the oil pan. This is a 302 V8, 5 liter. As far as I know, it hasn't had any work done to it. He did say that he had a person replace the oil pump and pan gasket because, again, the check engine light was staying on, but I don't think that was an issue because how would you know it's the oil pump? There's no gauge that says oil pressure. Yeah, just look at this beautiful scenery. This is how they did it 40 years ago. Don't know if you guys can hear it, but there appears to be like a ticking. It just sounds really weird. I'm pulling over to go and check it out. Found the issue. I don't know why the motor would be ticking. It's leaking. Alright, just removed the belt for the air conditioning compressor and the smog pump. I'll see if that makes any difference. Maybe the knocking or ticking was coming from that. I also topped off the power steering. So I don't know, see what happens. Let's see now.